Good evening, everybody. My name's Neil Turton. I'm a pastor at Long Crendon Baptist Church, and it's my pleasure during the course of this week to be interviewing different people from our church about their experiences during the course of their life. Some quite challenging ones when they've been tempted to ask the question, where is God in all of this? Well, my guest this evening is Ollie Summers. He was somebody who became an addict at a very young age, and at one stage couldn't see a way out. We'll hear about that. He's now happily married to Natalie with a lovely 3-year-old daughter Ariana, and runs his own pastoring business. So, well, it's great to have you with us this evening. Can you tell us about how you first got into alcohol? How old were you, and what made you start drinking?
So I started drinking about the age of 12. I remember just trying, a can of beer or a bottle of beer at the time, and I remember it sort of changing the way I felt inside. It made me feel good. And also at school I was bullied a lot, so I didn't have a lot of friends, and also didn't really have a relationship with my dad. And I found that when I started drinking, I suddenly had friends to hang around with. And from a young age, about the age of 13, I started drinking beer with my dad. So I then had a relationship with him where we would drink together. So I think for me, alcohol was, it was a good thing. Mainly it changed the way I felt, and it brought me friends and a relationship with my dad that I always wanted.
Mm-hmm. Did that change over time though? Did you get to a point where you thought, actually, this is not really very good for me?
Yeah, so I think I drank from the age of 12 to about the age of 23. And as you know, I went through the years, my drinking just got worse. I started drinking, cope with life and just help me deal with things. Towards the end of my drinking, I was drinking about 13 cans of strong cider a day. I was taking prescription drugs as well to try and deal with the withdrawals. I ended up going into hospital a few times on detoxes, and I did a few home detoxes as well. But each time I'd do the detox, I'd come out and I'd start drinking again, thinking that this time it would be different, this time I could control it. But each time it would be the same outcome. I'd just end up, drinking and going back on a detox.
So during that whole time, did you ever wonder, where is God?
Yeah, so when I was about, I went to Sunday school when I was younger, and so I knew God from then. But because I was bullied at school a lot, I thought, how could God be real? If he was real, then he wouldn't let this happen to me. So I decided at that age that, God wasn't real. So I think as I went through these hard times with the drinking, I didn't really question whether God was there, because I just thought he was made up and, that he wasn't real. I remember my mum praying for me once, and it didn't really do anything, because I thought, well, God's not going to help, but if she wants to pray, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. How did you eventually break free from the addiction?
So at the age of 23, I saw no way out of, being an alcoholic. I tried lots of different things, lots of different ways. And the only way out I saw was, by dying really, and just taking my own life. But I eventually went into a rehab. And when I got to the rehab, I thought, this is my last chance. This is time to do it. And they started talking about God. So I thought, yeah, my last chance at fighting this, and they're telling me God's going to help me. And I thought it was rubbish. I left the rehab, came home, but I knew I was going to drink again. I knew that I'd drink again and I'd probably end up dying. So I went back to the rehab really with the attitude of proving them wrong, proving them that, God wasn't real and he wasn't going to help me. I think after some time of being in the rehab, I started seeing, I saw in other people how God was working in their lives. And I saw that some of them had been sort of 5 years sober, 3 months sober, even 2 weeks sober. And I thought, well, if God can do it for them, if what they're saying is true, then maybe he could do it for me. So, one day in rehab, after going through a 12-step program, I got down on my knees and gave my life to God. And nothing happened straight away, but over the weeks, I remember, God removing that desire to want to drink. I no longer wanted to, I no longer thought about it. And I sort of just knew he was there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Your dad died of alcoholism while you were in rehab. What impact did that have on you?
So, I remember when my dad died, my brother and my auntie came to tell me. It was about a week before I was leaving rehab. And I remember just feeling, quite scared, quite fearful. He obviously died of alcoholism. I was in rehab for alcoholism. So I thought, this could end up happening to me. But it was at that point where I actually left the rehab, because I was able to leave for a day to go and see him in, where he was. And I remember just sitting at the end of my bed, scared, thinking, what's going to happen. And I remember getting on my knees and just praying to God. And it was then that I knew that God was real and that God was going to keep me safe. And that, all I had to do was give my life to him and that I was going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. And what difference has he made to your life since then?
So, after leaving rehab, I did struggle a little bit, with that relationship with God. I started going to church after a few years of struggling, and they told me that, I did have God in my life, that maybe I was missing a relationship with Jesus. So, from as soon as they said that, I gave my life to Jesus, and I think that's when everything started changing. I had a relationship with God through Jesus, and I think that's when things really changed. And I no longer thought about drink. I was never tempted to drink again, and life was just much easier than it was before.
Mm-hmm. Since becoming a Christian and becoming teetotal, you have had some mental health issues. You want to tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so I still struggle with mental health issues, especially anxiety. I can get really anxious sometimes. I struggle a lot with irrational fear and worry. And some days are good and some days are bad, but I know today that drink isn't the answer, and taking drugs isn't the answer. It's not going to help. I've had a lot of CBT, cognitive therapy, which has helped, and that sort of helps me with rationalizing things. But it is an ongoing battle, but it's much easier today than it was 11 years ago now.
Mm-hmm. And how's your faith in Jesus helped you with some of those struggles?
So I think the main way it's helped is because I know that God's there. I know that I can trust him. I can hand my life over to him. So I think it's like a peace that, even though sometimes I am struggling, that he is there for me. Even though I find it hard to, trust in God completely every day when you've got irrational worry and fear. I do try to. Mm-hmm. But mainly just knowing God's there and knowing that I have a relationship with him is a good thing.
Just finally, what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe listening in, who themselves is struggling with addiction or knows somebody who is, and they're finding it hard to break free from that? They can't see a way out the same way you couldn't at one stage. What advice would you give to somebody in that situation?
So I think it would be, the same as what I did. I tried everything to give up drinking, and the thing that I thought that would never work actually did. So, if you are struggling, then, I would say talk to God. Get on your knees and pray, ask him into your life. If you're struggling to do that because you don't know what to say or you need someone to help, then, even go to the church and speak to one of the pastors and ask them to help.
Well, thanks very much, Ollie. And as Ollie says, if anybody is listening and would like to speak to one of the pastors myself, or would like to speak to Ollie himself as well, do please contact us via the church website. The details will be at the end of this video. So thanks very much, Ollie. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and see you later. God bless.